Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the video. We're going to be discussing a recent rumor concerning Microsoft and Windows. Supposedly there were going to be no more numeral or identifier version of Windows. So in other words, Windows 9, when it's supposedly unveiled at the end of September, possibly October, is not going to be known as Windows 9. It's just going to be known as Windows. So why in the hell, you might be thinking, are they going to do this? Well, there are multiple reasons. To the average consumer, Microsoft believe that it's just confusing. In fact, you might even have noticed that when you log on to, say, Windows Update or whatever, or you're trying to download drivers, there's a lot of help that companies now give you to tell you you are running Windows 7 64-bit, or you are running Windows 8.1 or 8 or whatever the version of Windows you're using. And Microsoft believe that for a lot of consumers this is just becoming confusing. Microsoft and Windows particularly, especially in the late 90s or mid 90s to say early 2000s, were synonymous with computing. But Linux, of course, was around for, say, servers, but gaming, not so much. Now, it has a lot of competition. Of course, Google are stepping into the mix, but the biggest concern they've probably got from the gaming side of things would be, say, SteamOS. And, of course, you've also got Apple and all of these other guys that are vying for the PC or the desktop space. And that's not really great for, well, Microsoft. They don't want that at all. So even if you've noticed, say, the Windows Phone ads, the latest ones anyway, which concern the Lumia handsets and Cortana, Windows Phone, none of this is mentioned. All they say is basically it's Windows, so it works with all of my stuff here, and that's pretty much what the voice actor says. Even Windows 8 and all of the adverts surrounding Windows 8 have somewhat disappeared. In fact, Microsoft are phasing them out, and they're now saying the new Windows has arrived. And I think there are a couple of reasons for this. Certainly, Windows 8, to a degree, was badly received. I wouldn't exactly say it was, let's say, Windows ME, but it wasn't treated well, particularly with desktop enthusiasts, because of the various issues. Now, Windows 8.1 did go a measure to address these, but I have a feeling that Microsoft wanted to kind of change the branding concerning this. So really, there are multiple different factors here. Now, remember, these are rumors. For all we know, it's going to say Windows 9, and personally, from my perspective, particularly when it comes to troubleshooting, like helping someone out, I think that at the end of the day there has to be a revision, unless Microsoft are going to be giving like incremental updates for free, or I don't know how it's going to work exactly. But at the end of the day there has to be some type of identifier, you would think, because otherwise if there's large changes in the, you know, the core operating system, how is it going to work otherwise? The other thing, Microsoft are definitely trying to distance themselves from the issues of Windows 8. But there's also a lot of reports, and well, not even reports, Microsoft have actually said it themselves. They announced it, that they want to start unifying Windows. Here's the thing. Let's say that you are a owner of a Windows Phone, and you are an owner of a desktop PC, and you are the owner of an Xbox One, and you're the owner of a tablet. In other words, pretty much all the devices you can imagine under the sun. You don't want to disconnect, and Microsoft do not want a disconnect there. They basically want you to be able to use the same applications and a very similar navigation experience between multiple different systems. In other words, so yes, of course, in some ways there's going to be a little bit of difference in navigation. You might have, say, a touch screen here, and you might have a mouse there, or you might even be using a control pad, or possibly voice. But generally speaking, the look, the feel, the response is going to be very similar. So yes, it's Windows. It works very, very well, in my personal opinion, with something like a tablet, because there's that familiarity there. To be fair, it's also very similar to, say, Apple's marketing. Yes, they do sometimes push the new fact that they've got a new OS, but generally speaking, that's not the cause or the primary goal of them. They instead focus on the fact that it's the new X, because it's the marketing campaign around it. Now, of course, not all applications are going to work on a Windows Phone, for example, right now. That's the other issue. The fact of the matter is that, you know, you can't expect, just, it's a very silly example, I admit, but you can't expect to play, say, Dead Rising 3 on your handset. It's just not going to have the power. And of course, there's also architectural differences as well, amount of memory, GPU, and so on and so forth. There are all these different concerns. Microsoft have to be a little careful, in my personal opinion, with this. And they also don't want to get into a situation where they make it so user-friendly and so almost idiot-proof that there's no way to really identify or to really promote their brand. Personally speaking, I want them to say Windows 9. Not because it sounds better, you know, to the consumer, but just, I think as well, to a degree, it makes it a lot easier for the consumer. But I understand that they also don't want to kind of alienate their different brands. It's a very odd situation, in my personal opinion. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care, and bye for now.